Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. The courtroom was ice cold, but Arielle Donovan felt sweat dripping down her back as she shifted in the wooden chair. At 8 months pregnant, every position was uncomfortable, but this was torture. Her lower back throbbed, her feet ached inside her flats, and every time she tried to adjust, the chair squeaked like it was protesting right along with her body. Behind her, she heard Sierra's voice cutting through the air like broken glass. Sierra did not bother to whisper properly. She wanted an audience. "Look at her," Sierra said, loud enough for half the gallery to hear. "She can barely fit in that chair." No wonder Leon left her. A couple of people snickered. Arielle's hands tightened around her purse until her knuckles turned white. Arielle kept her eyes forward, focusing on Judge Thompson, who was reviewing papers at his bench. Her lawyer, Angela Stone, had warned her this would be ugly. Leon's team was playing dirty, and Sierra was their secret weapon of cruelty. The hum of the fluorescent lights and the faint tap of the court reporter's keys mixed with the pounding of Arielle's heart. "Your Honor," Leon's lawyer, Mr. Brighton, stood up with a stack of papers. "My client maintains that Mrs. Donovan has become increasingly unstable since her pregnancy began. These hormonal changes have made her vindictive and irrational." Arielle felt her baby kick hard against her ribs, as if in protest. Even her unborn daughter seemed angry at the lies being told. She placed her hand on her belly and took a deep breath, remembering Angela's calm voice in her office. "Stay still. Stay silent. Let them hang themselves. She has been stalking my client and his new partner," Brighton continued, "taking photos of their home, following them to restaurants. This behavior is dangerous for everyone involved, especially the unborn child." "That is a lie," Arielle whispered to Angela. Her voice shook, but the words were clear. "I know," Angela whispered back without looking at her. "Stay quiet." Behind them, Sierra let out a theatrical gasp. "Oh my God, she is talking to her lawyer again. See how paranoid she is." Her tone was mocking, like this was a gossip session instead of a custody hearing. Several people in the gallery turned to look. Arielle felt heat rising up her neck. This was exactly what they wanted. They wanted her to break down in public, to cry or scream so they could point and say, "See? Unstable. Dangerous." Judge Thompson looked up from his papers and shifted his gaze toward the gallery. "Ms. Wright," he said, his voice firm, "you are not a party to these proceedings. Please remain silent, or I will have you removed from my courtroom." Sierra smiled sweetly, the kind of smile Arielle had seen on social media, all angles and performance. "Sorry, Your Honor. I am just concerned for everyone's safety." Arielle knew that smile. She had seen it 6 months ago when she came home early and found Sierra in her bedroom wearing Arielle's robe, laughing into Leon's phone as if she lived there. The same fake innocence had fooled Leon into throwing away 15 years of marriage. It had never fooled Arielle. "Mrs. Donovan has also been making false accusations about marital assets," Brighton went on. "She claims my client has hidden money, but she has no proof. These are the desperate actions of a woman who knows she is losing everything." Angela stood up smoothly. "Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is making arguments not in evidence." "Sustained," Judge Thompson said. "Mr. Brighton, stick to the facts." "Of course, Your Honor," Brighton said, though his tone suggested he was anything but sorry. "The fact is that Mrs. Donovan is 8 months pregnant and clearly not thinking straight. She needs help, not custody of an innocent child." Arielle closed her eyes for a moment. How had her life become this? 6 months ago, she was planning a nursery and picking out baby names with the man she thought loved her. Now, that same man sat 10 feet away, nodding along as his attorney tried to paint her as unstable and unfit. "She cannot even take care of herself," Sierra said loudly enough for the microphones to pick up. "Look at her clothes. Look at how she is sitting. That baby deserves better this time." Judge Thompson slammed his gavel. "Ms. Wright, I warned you. One more outburst, and you will be removed." But Sierra was not done. She had been building up to this moment for weeks. Every court appearance, she got a little bolder. Today, she was going for the kill. "I am just saying what everyone is thinking," Sierra said, standing up in the gallery as if she were on a stage. "She is pathetic. No wonder Leon fell in love with someone else." The words hit Arielle like a physical blow. Her chest tightened and her vision blurred. She felt the baby kick again, harder this time. Her daughter was reacting to her stress, to the poison in the air. Ariel forced herself to breathe slowly in and out, just like they taught in the birthing classes she now attended alone. Leon finally spoke up, not to defend Ariel, but to support Sierra. Your Honor, my fiancé is only trying to protect my child. Ariel has been saying terrible things about both of us. She is trying to poison people against us. Fiancé. The word made Ariel's stomach turn. The divorce was not even finalized yet, and Leon was already planning his next wedding. Sierra wore a new diamond ring that caught the courtroom lights each time she moved her hand. Ariel recognized it. She had seen the same ring in a jewelry store window downtown, the one that cost more than she spent on groceries in 6 months. Your Honor, Angela stood again. I would like to request a brief recess. My client is in her 3rd trimester and needs a moment. Judge Thompson looked at Ariel with something like sympathy. 10-minute recess, he said, banging the gavel. As the courtroom began to clear, Sierra walked past Ariel's table. She stopped and leaned down, pretending to pick up something from the floor. You should have seen this coming, Sierra whispered. A man like Leon was never going to stay with someone like you forever. I am everything you are not, younger, prettier, and I actually care about my appearance. Ariel looked up at the woman who had destroyed her marriage. Sierra was beautiful in a sharp, artificial way. Perfect hair, perfect makeup, clothes that probably cost more than Ariel's monthly rent. But there was something cold in her eyes, something that made Ariel's skin crawl, like she was staring at a predator who had just found an injured animal. You will not win this, Sierra continued softly, her lips barely moving. Leon and I have everything planned out. Your little girl is going to grow up knowing who really loves her father. That was the final straw. Not the lies about the money, not the fake psychiatric insinuations, not even the public humiliation. Threatening her unborn daughter crossed a line Ariel had not known existed until that moment. She stood up as best she could, one hand on the table, the other on her belly. Stay away from my child, Ariel said, her voice low and steady. Sierra laughed quietly. Your child? Honey, that baby is going to be living with us half the time. I am going to be her stepmother whether you like it or not. Angela quickly stepped between them. That is enough, Angela said. Ms. Wright, please return to your seat. But Sierra was not finished. She had been waiting months to say these words to Ariel's face. I hope you enjoy these last few weeks, Sierra said. Because once that baby is born, everything changes. Leon will get custody, and you will be lucky if you see her on weekends. As Sierra walked away, Ariel sank back into her chair. The woman's perfume lingered in the air, expensive and overwhelming. Everything about Sierra was too much. Too bright, too loud, too certain the world would rearrange itself around her desires. And somehow that confidence was working in court. Ariel looked across the room at Leon, who was smiling faintly at something on his phone. Probably a text from Sierra. He looked relaxed, almost comfortable, like this was just another negotiation at work instead of a fight over their child's future. For him, this was a strategy problem to solve. For Ariel, it was life. The 10 minutes felt like 10 hours. When Judge Thompson returned, Ariel tried to sit up straighter. Her back ached, her feet were swollen, and she felt completely alone. But she had to keep fighting. Not for herself, and definitely not for Leon. For the little girl growing inside her, who deserved better than a father who had chosen his mistress over his family. As the proceedings resumed, Ariel made herself a promise. No matter what Sierra said, no matter how many lies Leon told, she would not break down in that courtroom. She would not give them the satisfaction of seeing her fall apart. She had no idea that the path that brought her to this cold room had begun with a single text message on an ordinary morning. Months earlier, Ariel had stood in her kitchen humming quietly as she made breakfast. The pregnancy test was still in her purse, and she could not stop smiling. After 3 years of trying, she was finally pregnant. At 32, she had started to worry it might never happen. Now she was planning how to tell Leon the good news. Maybe she would put the test in a gift box. Maybe she would buy a tiny pair of sneakers and leave them on his plate at dinner. She had seen all the clever reveal ideas online. Onesies that said "Daddy's little girl," balloons, framed sonogram photos. Leon would be thrilled. They had talked about children since their second date 15 years ago. The coffee maker beeped and Ariel poured Leon's usual cup, black, no sugar, in the chipped blue mug his mother had given him for Christmas years ago. She had been making his coffee every morning for a decade and a half, and it still made her happy to do these small things for him. It had always felt like love in action. Leon, breakfast is ready, she called upstairs. No answer. He was probably in the shower. Ariel started making eggs the way he liked them, over easy, yolks still runny, just enough salt and pepper. She was so focused on not breaking the yellow centers that she did not notice his phone buzzing on the counter at first. Buzz. 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 The vibration seemed to vibrate through the granite. Finally, Ariel glanced over and saw the screen lighting up again and again. The messages were from someone saved as Sierra. Can't wait to see you tonight. Leon, you left your watch here. I am wearing that dress you like. Ariel's hand froze over the frying pan. Sierra. She knew that name. Sierra Wright worked at the same accounting firm as Leon. Ariel had met her at the company holiday party 3 months earlier. A woman with an easy laugh and a way of standing too close, her hand lingering on Leon's arm whenever she told a joke. The eggs were starting to burn. Ariel turned off the heat and picked up Leon's phone. In 15 years, she had never gone through his messages. She had never felt the need. They had built their marriage on trust, or at least she had. There were dozens of messages from Sierra. Weeks of them. Ariel scrolled up, and her stomach clenched. Photos, Sierra in lingerie. Sierra in Ariel's kitchen, holding that same blue mug. Sierra wearing one of Leon's shirts and nothing else. Words that made Ariel's face burn. Laughing references to Ariel as the wife, like she were some obstacle instead of an actual person. Hey babe, what is for breakfast? Leon's voice came from behind her. Ariel did not turn around. She kept reading the messages, each one a fresh cut. Plans to meet at hotels. Complaints about how Ariel was boring. Sierra calling their marriage basically over, in messages Leon never corrected. Ariel, you okay? Leon asked, stepping closer. She finally turned to face him, his phone still in her hand. He was wearing the gray suit she had bought him for his birthday, his hair still damp from the shower. He looked exactly like the man she had fallen in love with in college, but now she saw him clearly for the first time. Who is Sierra? Ariel asked. Leon's face changed. The casual smile vanished, replaced by something careful and guarded. What do you mean? He asked. Your phone has been buzzing all morning, Ariel said. Messages from someone named Sierra. Oh, that is just a co-worker, Leon said. We are working on a project together. Ariel held up the phone so he could see the screen. The latest message was a photo of Sierra in bed, clearly naked beneath white sheets. This kind of project? Ariel asked. Her voice sounded distant to her own ears. Leon reached for the phone, but Ariel stepped back. Ariel, I can explain, he said quickly. Explain what? She asked. That you were sleeping with her? That she has been in our house? In our bed. The room seemed to tilt slightly. It is not what you think, Leon said. But it was exactly what she thought. Ariel scrolled higher, and the timeline became clear. The affair had been going on for 4 months. 4 months of lies and secrets while Ariel had been timing ovulation, drinking prenatal tea, and praying for a positive test. She was here yesterday, Ariel said, reading a message from Sierra thanking Leon for an amazing afternoon. While I was at work, you brought her to our house. Ariel, please let me explain, Leon said again. Explain what? Ariel asked. That while I was at the doctor finding out I am pregnant, you were texting another woman about meeting at a hotel? The words hung in the air. Leon's face went pale. You are pregnant? He asked. Ariel had imagined that moment 100 times. She had pictured Leon scooping her up, laughing and crying with her, making plans for a nursery and calling their families with the news. Instead, he looked terrified. How pregnant? Leon asked quietly. 2 months, Ariel said. Leon sat down hard in one of the kitchen chairs. Oh God, he whispered. Not in wonder, but in dread. Ariel looked back at the screen and saw more messages. Sierra complaining about how clingy Ariel was, how she was always texting Leon about boring things like groceries. Sierra mocking how Ariel dressed, calling her wife material, as if it were an insult. She does not know about me, does she? Ariel asked. Leon did not answer. You told her we were separated, Ariel said slowly. You told her we were getting divorced. I told her we were talking about it, Leon said. I told her things were complicated. That is why she is so comfortable sending these photos, Ariel said. She thinks I am your ex-wife, not your actual wife who has been making your coffee every morning for 15 years. The kitchen felt too small, the air too thick. Ariel needed space, needed air, but she could not make herself move. When were you going to tell me? She asked. When were you going to mention that you wanted a divorce? I do not want a divorce, Leon said quickly. Sierra it is complicated. What is complicated about adultery? Ariel asked. Leon stood and tried to put his hands on her shoulders, but she stepped away. She could not bear for him to touch her, not when those same hands had been on Sierra hours before. I love you, Leon said. I love our life together. Sierra she is different. She makes me feel young again. I am 32, Leon, Ariel said. I am not ancient. That is not what I meant, he muttered, but she already understood. Sierra was 26, unmarried, no stretch marks, no permanent fatigue from grading papers and managing household budgets. Sierra did not spend her evenings planning lessons or clipping coupons. She was exciting, at least in Leon's mind. I can end it, Leon said, his voice suddenly eager. I will tell Sierra it is over. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. Ariel looked down at the phone again. The most recent message from Sierra had been sent while Ariel was cracking eggs. Can't wait to start our real life together. Your real life, Ariel said softly. Like the life we have built is just practice? Leon opened his mouth, then closed it again. She thinks you are leaving me, Ariel said. I told her I was thinking about it, Leon admitted. The honesty was worse than the lies. Ariel sat down slowly, her legs trembling. For months, he had been planning a future without her while she had been planning a baby with him. How long have you been thinking about leaving me? She asked. Leon stared at the floor. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet. Since before I met Sierra, he said. That hurt more than all the photos and messages combined. The affair was not a sudden mistake or a moment of weakness. Leon had been unhappy in their marriage for months, maybe years, and had never said a word. Why did you not tell me you were unhappy? Ariel asked. I did not want to hurt you, Leon said. So instead you decided to cheat on me and lie to your girlfriend about being separated, Ariel said. The words felt heavy but also strangely clarifying. Leon looked smaller than she had ever seen him. I thought I could figure it out, he said. I thought maybe if we had a baby, things would get better. You thought a baby would fix this? Ariel asked, stunned. You thought getting me pregnant would fix your unhappiness while you were already planning to leave? He did not answer. By the end of that day, Ariel had packed 2 suitcases of clothes, a box of books, and the pregnancy test. She did not slam doors or shout. She left Leon standing in the kitchen staring at the life he had almost casually demolished. The lawyer's office smelled like leather and paper. Angela Stone was younger than Ariel expected a divorce attorney to be, with a sharp suit and a sharper gaze. Her office walls were lined with plaques and photos of her standing next to various judges and community leaders. How far along are you? Angela asked, once Ariel finished telling the story. 12 weeks, Ariel said. And your husband knows? Angela asked. Yes, Ariel said. He called the pregnancy an accident. In front of the woman he is cheating with. Angela made a note on her legal pad. Good, she said calmly. That helps us establish his attitude toward the child. Ariel had called 3 other attorneys before Angela. The first 2 suggested counseling. The third asked if she was sure she wanted to proceed while pregnant. Only Angela said exactly what Ariel needed to hear. Here is what is going to happen, Angela said. Leon is going to try to paint you as unstable. Pregnancy hormones, emotional outbursts, not thinking clearly. It is standard. We are going to make sure that narrative does not stick. Angela laid out the plan. Temporary orders for support and custody. Discovery to find all marital assets. Depositions where everyone would answer questions under oath. It would take months, maybe longer if Leon decided to fight. But there was a clear path, and that alone kept Ariel from crumbling. The apartment Ariel found 3 weeks later was small and overpriced, with mismatched furniture and thin walls. But it was hers. A brown couch. A black coffee table. A bed that squeaked whenever she turned over. She brought her 2 suitcases, her box of books, and the ultrasound photo she had gotten at her first appointment alone. At night, when the apartment was too quiet, Ariel imagined Sierra in her house, using her coffee maker, sleeping in her bed, opening her drawers and deciding what to throw away. It felt like an invasion that never stopped, even with miles between them. The temporary custody order gave Leon visitation rights once the baby was born. Ariel would have primary custody during the week, but Leon would have weekends, which meant Sierra would be near Ariel's daughter every other weekend. We can fight that later, Angela said. Once the baby is here and we see how involved he actually wants to be. At 16 weeks, Ariel had her first ultrasound where the technician told her the baby was a girl. The room filled with the rhythm of her daughter's heartbeat. Ariel watched the screen, saw tiny hands, a curved spine, a little profile. She ordered a whole packet of pictures and held them like they were made of glass. Walking back to her car, Ariel realized she was crying. Not just from sadness, but from relief. Her daughter was real. She was healthy. She had a future that did not have to revolve around Leon's choices. That night, Ariel called her mother for the first time since the separation. Her mother's voice softened when Ariel said, "It is a girl." They talked about names. Ariel picked Zoe because it meant life, and because it sounded like a promise. Weeks blurred into each other. Ariel worked, met with Angela regularly, and counted down doctor's appointments. Angela dug into the finances, and slowly a pattern emerged. Cash withdrawals from the joint account. Credit card charges at restaurants Ariel had never visited. Hotel stays charged on nights when Leon claimed to be buried at work. "He is moving money," Angela said one afternoon, spreading statements across her desk. "He started small months ago, then got bolder. And look at this." She pointed to a charge at a jewelry store. $3,000 the same day as a cash withdrawal. "The engagement ring," Ariel said softly. "Exactly," Angela said. "He used marital funds to buy his girlfriend an engagement ring. The court is not going to like that." Angela subpoenaed records, and more details spilled out. Sierra's new car lease, expensive clothes, weekend trips. "He is not just cheating emotionally," Angela said. "He is treating your marriage like an ATM." By 28 weeks, Ariel's back hurt constantly, her ankles swelled by midday, and she could not see her feet without leaning forward. Still, she kept every appointment. Doctor visits, meetings with Angela, sessions with the court-ordered mediator. Her sister, Valerie, showed up regularly with food and dry humor. "You know, I never liked Leon," Valerie said one night, helping Ariel assemble the crib in the corner of the bedroom. "He always cared too much about how things looked and not enough about how they felt." "You said he was too focused on appearances," Ariel said. "I thought you were being dramatic." "I am always dramatic," Valerie said. "That does not mean I am wrong." The first formal hearing about temporary custody took place when Ariel was 36 weeks pregnant. The courthouse smelled like disinfectant and nerves. Ariel's hands shook as she signed in with the clerk. Sitting was torture. Standing was worse. But she refused to show it. Angela met her in the hallway, carrying a folder so thick it looked like it could stop a bullet. "How are you feeling?" Angela asked. "Like I might throw up or go into labor," Ariel said. "Let us hope for neither until after we are done," Angela said dryly. Judge Thompson was older than Ariel had expected, with gray hair and eyes that watched everything. He asked questions about Leon's request for shared custody of a child who was not yet born. "Your client is requesting overnight visitation with a newborn?" Judge Thompson asked Brighton. "Yes, Your Honor," Brighton said. "Mr. Donovan is committed to being an active father." Angela stood. "Your Honor, my client is willing to allow reasonable visitation, but she believes shared custody and overnights are not in the baby's best interest, given the circumstances of the separation." "What circumstances?" the judge asked. "Mr. Donovan has been engaged in an extramarital affair for the past 8 months, Angela said. "He moved his girlfriend into the marital home immediately after my client moved out. Mrs. Donovan is concerned about exposing a newborn to an unstable environment." "Mr. Donovan, is it true you are living with someone other than your wife?" Judge Thompson asked. Leon shifted in his seat. "Yes, Your Honor," he said. "Someone you were involved with during your marriage?" "Yes, Your Honor," Leon said, his voice tighter now. "And you want this court to award you overnight visitation with a newborn?" the judge asked. "Yes, Your Honor," Leon said. "I want to be part of my child's life." Judge Thompson made a note and looked up. "Newborns have very specific needs, Mr. Donovan. I am ordering supervised visitation for the first 6 months, with a possibility of expansion depending on how things go." Angela squeezed Ariel's hand under the table. It was better than they had hoped for. Leon would see Zoe, but not alone, not in a house Ariel did not trust. However, as they left the courtroom, they ran right into Leon, Brighton, and Sierra. Sierra's polite mask had cracked. 6 months of supervised visits? Sierra said. "Really? You're going to keep his daughter away from him like he is dangerous?" "I am protecting my daughter from instability," Ariel said. "Instability?" Sierra scoffed. "Leon and I are getting married. We are more stable than you are." You are marrying a man who cheated on his pregnant wife, Angela said evenly. Stability is not the word I would use. Sierra's cheeks flushed. I will be his wife soon enough, she snapped. You all can treat me like I am nothing, but that is going to change. Angela leaned in slightly. This conversation is being recorded, she murmured to Ariel. Just breathe. 3 days later, Ariel woke up to contractions strong enough to take her breath away. Valerie rushed her to the hospital, timing the contractions and cursing every red light. Should we call Leon? Valerie asked as they pulled into the parking lot. Not yet, Ariel said. I want a few hours that are just me and Zoe. Zoe arrived at 3:47 in the morning after 6 hours of hard labor. She weighed 6 pounds, 3 ounces, with a head full of dark curls and eyes that seemed too alert for a newborn. She looks like you, Valerie said, wiping her eyes as the nurse laid Zoe on Ariel's chest. Ariel felt something fierce and overwhelming take root in her. This tiny person, warm and fragile against her, mattered more than every betrayal, every court date, every sleepless night. Hi, Zoe, she whispered. I am your mom. For hours later, Leon arrived. Ariel had called him once the adrenaline settled, and she could think around the haze of pain and joy. He came into the room carrying flowers and a stuffed animal that still had the price tag on it. She is beautiful, Leon said, standing by the bassinet. She is, Ariel said. Can I hold her? He asked. Ariel wanted to say no, but she knew that whatever he had done to her, he was still Zoe's father. Yes, she said quietly. But just you. I do not want Sierra here. She is at work, Leon said quickly, as if he could anticipate the accusation. Ariel handed Zoe to him carefully. Leon's face softened as he cradled his daughter. For a moment, Ariel remembered the boy he had been when they met, the one who had held her hand through exams and job interviews. I want her to have my last name, Leon said. She does, Ariel said. Zoe Donovan. I mean on the birth certificate, he said. It is already filled out, Ariel said. Her name is Zoe Angela Donovan. Leon blinked. Angela? Yes, Ariel said. After my lawyer. After the woman who fought for us when you would not. Leon frowned. That is inappropriate. You named our daughter after the person trying to keep me away from her. I named our daughter after a woman who stood up for what was right when it was hard, Ariel said. You do not get to redefine that. Their first argument as parents ended with Leon handing Zoe back stiffly and muttering something about talking to his lawyer. Ariel watched him leave and felt strangely calm. The lines were clear now. The next weeks were a blur of late-night feedings, diaper changes, and supervised visits at the family center. Zoe woke every 3 hours, and Ariel often felt like she was moving through fog, but she refused to miss a single visit or court-related appointment. At the family center, a social worker named Mrs. Harper sat in the corner with a clipboard while Leon tried to learn how to hold, feed, and change his daughter. He was awkward, always glancing over to make sure he was doing it right. He is nervous, Mrs. Harper noted once in a report, but he does show up. Leon was not the only one who showed up. Sierra took to waiting in the lobby during every visit, dressed like she was going to brunch instead of a visitation center. When Ariel arrived to pick Zoe up, Sierra would stand and say loudly, How is my little stepdaughter? She is not your stepdaughter, Ariel said the first time. She will be, Sierra replied with a smug smile. You cannot change that. At Zoe's 2-month checkup, Ariel was startled to see Sierra at the pediatrician's office. Sierra sat in the waiting room flipping through a parenting magazine. What are you doing here? Ariel asked. I had some questions about Zoe's development, Sierra said. I wanted to talk to her doctor. You are not her parent, Ariel said. Her doctor cannot talk to you about anything. Dr. Coleman, the pediatrician, stepped into the waiting room. Mrs. Donovan, we are ready for you, he said. Then he noticed Sierra. Is everything all right? This is Sierra, Ariel said evenly. She is not related to Zoe, but she has been trying to get information about my daughter's medical care. Dr. Coleman turned to Sierra with a professional but firm expression. I am sorry, he said. I can only discuss a child's care with parents or legal guardians. I understand, Sierra said with a tight smile. I am just trying to be prepared. I am going to be part of Zoe's life. When you have legal standing to make decisions for Zoe, Dr. Coleman said, we can discuss her care. Until then, I will only speak with her mother and father. After he walked away, Sierra leaned toward Ariel and lowered her voice. You cannot keep me away from her forever, she said. I can keep you away until the court says otherwise, Ariel replied. The court is going to change its mind, Sierra said. Leon's lawyer is filing for expanded visitation. That afternoon, Ariel called Angela. Is Leon filing for more time? She asked. Not yet, Angela said. But I expect him to try soon. Mrs. Harper's reports say the visits are going smoothly. We will be ready. A week later, Sierra called Ariel directly. We need to set up a meeting, Sierra said. We should talk about Zoe's future. No, we do not, Ariel said. It is about co-parenting, Sierra said. Leon and I are getting married next month. We want to make sure things go smoothly. I co-parent with Leon, Ariel said. Not with you. You can pretend I am not part of this, Sierra said. But I am. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. What is the easy way? Ariel asked, more curious than hopeful. You acknowledge that I am part of Zoe's family, Sierra said. You stop trying to keep me away from her. You accept that Leon and I are building a life that includes his daughter. And the hard way? Ariel asked. We go back to court, Sierra said. Leon gets more visitation. I become part of Zoe's life anyway, but without your cooperation. Sierra, can I ask you something? Ariel said. Sure, Sierra replied. Do you actually want to be a stepmother to a baby? Ariel asked. Or do you just want to win? There was a pause. I want to build a family with the man I love, Sierra said. That is not what I asked, Ariel said. Sierra's voice cooled. You are trying to use Zoe to keep Leon and me apart, she said. It is not going to work. That night, Ariel called Valerie. She wants to meet about co-parenting, Ariel said. She threatened court again. Let her go to court, Valerie said. Sierra can call herself whatever she wants, but that does not give her rights. If Leon gets overnights, Ariel said, she will be around no matter what. At the next visit, Leon struggled to get Zoe to take a bottle. She pushed it away and cried, rooting for the comfort she knew. She is not eating, Leon said anxiously to Mrs. Harper. Some babies take time to adjust to bottles, Mrs. Harper said. It is normal. After the visit, Sierra approached Ariel in the lobby. She did not eat much, Sierra said. Maybe you should consider switching to formula. It would make visitation easier. You want me to stop breastfeeding my 3-month-old to make visitation easier? Ariel asked, stunned. It might be better for everyone, Sierra said. Better for Leon. Better for you. Better for me. But not better for Zoe, Ariel said. Courts can order mothers to wean if it interferes with custody arrangements, Sierra said confidently. Ariel repeated that line to Angela later that night. Angela sighed. In extreme cases, some courts have made orders related to feeding, she said. But you are nowhere near that. Sierra is bluffing with half-understood information. The morning of the final hearing, Zoe was 4 months old. She had slept in 2-hour stretches, and Ariel had barely slept at all. Her stomach twisted as she dressed in her plain navy dress and flats, the only things that fit comfortably. Remember, Angela said in the courthouse hallway, stay calm no matter what they say. Sierra's goal is to get under your skin. The courtroom was more crowded than before. Other lawyers, relatives, curious strangers. Sierra sat in the front row behind Leon's table, wearing a conservative navy dress, her hair pulled back, makeup subdued. She looked like a model for responsible future stepmother. Leon took the stand first. Brighton led him through his job, his income, his house, his desire to be a real father. How often do you see your daughter now? Brighton asked. Every Saturday for 2 hours, supervised, Leon said. It is not enough. I want overnight visits. I want shared custody. On cross-examination, Angela was relentless but calm. How many diapers have you changed without a social worker present? She asked. Leon hesitated. I am not sure, he said. More than 10. Probably not, he admitted. Have you ever bathed Zoe alone? No, Leon said. Taken care of her when she was sick? She has not been sick during my visits, Leon said. So all of your parenting experience, Angela summarized, consists of a few hours a week, under supervision, with assistance available. Yet you are asking this court to trust you with overnight care of a 4-month-old infant. Leon looked over at the judge helplessly. I can learn, he said. I just need the chance. Next, Sierra took the stand. Brighton walked her through her degrees in early childhood education and educational psychology, her work in daycare, her corporate training job. She spoke smoothly about her love for children and her excitement about becoming Zoe's stepmother. Have you had any contact with Zoe? Brighton asked. Unfortunately, no, Sierra said, glancing meaningfully at Ariel. Mrs. Donovan has refused to allow it, even though I will be an important part of Zoe's life. She described Ariel as hostile and vindictive, claimed Ariel refused to consider formula, even though it would help everyone, and insisted she only wanted what was best for Zoe. On cross-examination, Angela was patient and precise. When did your romantic relationship with Mr. Donovan begin? She asked. About a year ago, Sierra said. At that time, did you know he was married? Angela asked. Sierra paused. Yes, she said finally. Did you know his wife was trying to get pregnant? Angela asked. I did not know the details of their personal life, Sierra said. Angela handed her a stack of printed text messages. Please read the highlighted line, she said. Sierra shifted in her seat. It says, when are you going to tell your wife about us? I am tired of hiding. That message is from 10 months ago, Angela said. So at that time, Mr. Donovan had not told his wife about you, correct? Correct, Sierra said. And yet you continued the relationship, knowing he had not told his wife, Angela said. Please read the next highlighted message. Sierra swallowed. I cannot wait until we do not have to sneak around anymore, she read. 9 months ago, Angela said. So 9 months ago, you were still sneaking around, even though you testified earlier that he told you early in the relationship they were planning to separate. If separation was the plan, why did you still need to sneak? He needed time, Sierra said. It is complicated. Did you ever see prenatal vitamins in the house? Angela asked. Sierra blinked. I might have, she said. You have a degree in educational psychology, Angela said. You could recognize prenatal vitamins in a bathroom cabinet, could you not? I suspected she might be pregnant, Sierra admitted. And you continued the relationship anyway, Angela said. You continued visiting the house, sleeping with her husband, making plans for a life with him, while his pregnant wife was making coffee in the kitchen downstairs. I loved him, Sierra said. Loved him enough to help him deceive his pregnant wife, Angela said. When did you expect him to leave her? Sierra hesitated. After the baby was born, she said softly. A hush fell over the courtroom. So your plan, Angela said, her voice unshakably calm, was for Mr. Donovan to stay with his wife through pregnancy and birth, then leave her with a newborn. I did not think about it that way, Sierra said. No further questions, Angela said. Finally, Ariel took the stand. Her legs shook as she walked past Leon and Sierra, but her voice was steady as Angela asked her about her job as a high school English teacher, her modest income, her small rented house, and the way she had cared for Zoe since birth. Why are you opposed to overnight visitation right now? Angela asked. Zoe is still very young, Ariel said. She is breastfeeding and has never spent a night away from me. I think it would be traumatic for her. I want Leon to have a relationship with her, but I want that relationship to grow at a pace that makes sense for her, not for our egos. How do you feel about Ms. Wright's involvement in your daughter's life? Angela asked. Ariel looked directly at Sierra. I do not trust her judgment, she said. She chose to participate in an affair with a married man whose wife was trying to start a family. She continued that relationship during my pregnancy. I do not believe that someone who can ignore the needs of a pregnant woman is ready to put a child's needs first. Brighton's cross-examination was like being picked apart piece by piece. He suggested she was using breastfeeding as a tool, read a statement from a neighbor claiming Ariel had said maybe Leon would lose interest if visits were hard enough, and pushed her to admit she was angry. Of course I am angry, Ariel said. My husband cheated on me while I was pregnant. He moved his girlfriend into our home. He is planning to marry her before our divorce is final. Anyone would be angry. But my anger does not make me a bad mother. You named your daughter after your attorney, Brighton said. Is that not vindictive? I named my daughter after a woman who fought for what was right, Ariel said. I want Zoe to grow up knowing that standing up for yourself is something to be proud of. Have you sought professional help for your emotional state? Brighton asked. I have my family, my friends, my colleagues, Ariel said. They have supported me. I am functioning. I am working. I am caring for my child. After Brighton sat down, Angela returned for just a few questions. Does your anger ever influence how you care for Zoe? She asked. No, Ariel said. If anything, it makes me more determined to make her life peaceful. When I make decisions about custody, I think about what helps her feel safe, loved, and secure. That is all. Judge Thompson shuffled his notes for a long moment. The room held its breath. I am ready to make my ruling, he said finally. Ariel's heart pounded. She had expected to wait days, maybe weeks. This has been a difficult case, Judge Thompson said. We have a very young child and parents with understandable emotions. My primary concern is the welfare of the child. He looked at Leon first. Mr. Donovan, I appreciate your desire to be an active father. However, your limited experience caring for your child, combined with the circumstances of the separation, convinces me you are not yet ready for overnight visitation. Leon's shoulders slumped. I am continuing supervised visitation for another 3 months, the judge said. We will revisit the situation then. A wave of relief washed over Ariel. I also want to address something else, Judge Thompson said. He turned his gaze to Sierra. Ms. Wright, please come forward. Sierra froze, then rose and walked to the front, confusion flickering across her face. During your testimony, Judge Thompson said, you demonstrated detailed knowledge of the Donovans' finances. More detail than I would expect from someone who is not a spouse. Leon has been open with me, Sierra said cautiously. Have you had access to bank accounts or financial records belonging to both Mr. and Mrs. Donovan? The judge asked. Sierra glanced at Brighton, who was already on his feet, shuffling papers. I might have seen some statements, she said. Did you help Mr. Donovan move money from joint accounts without Mrs. Donovan's knowledge? Judge Thompson asked. He told me he had a right to that money, Sierra said quickly. That is not what I asked, the judge said. Did you assist him? Sierra's voice dropped. Yes, she said. Did you personally benefit from those transfers? He asked. Did he buy you items, including an engagement ring, using funds from joint marital accounts? Sierra's eyes filled with tears. He bought the ring, she whispered. I did not know it was. I did not think of it as stolen. But you knew his wife did not know about the transfers, Judge Thompson said. Yes, she said, almost inaudibly. Ms. Wright, knowingly participating in fraudulent transfer of marital assets is a crime, Judge Thompson said, as is accepting gifts purchased with those funds. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Brighton objected loudly, but the judge raised a hand. Sit down, counsel, he said. My next step is to refer this matter to the district attorney's office for investigation of fraud and perjury on the part of Mr. Donovan and Ms. Wright. Sierra started sobbing in earnest. I did not mean, she began, but the judge cut her off. You may leave my courtroom, Ms. Wright, he said. If you attend any future hearings in this matter, I will hold you in contempt. Sierra stumbled out, still crying. Leon looked like someone had pulled the floor out from under him. As for custody, Judge Thompson said, turning back to the bench, I am awarding full physical custody to Mrs. Donovan. Mr. Donovan will have supervised visitation for 2 hours per week until further order of the court. Given his dishonesty and the pending criminal investigation, I cannot trust him with greater responsibility at this time. The gavel came down. Court is adjourned. People began to stand, filing out in clumps, voices buzzing. Ariel stayed seated, her hands flat on the table, trying to process it all. 6 months of fear and anxiety had ended in a decision that gave her what she had been too scared to hope for: control over her daughter's world. Angela put a hand on her shoulder. You did it, she said quietly. You fought for Zoe and you won. Ariel looked over at Leon. His lawyer was talking quickly, his gestures sharp, but Leon just stared straight ahead, as if the words were bouncing off a wall. Ariel did not feel triumphant. She did not feel sorry for him either. She felt something simpler, a sharp, clear certainty that she had done what she had to do. 6 months later, Ariel stood in the kitchen of her new house, making coffee while 10-month-old Zoe sat on the floor, banging blocks together and babbling. The house was not large, but it had 3 bedrooms, a fenced yard, and a nursery with soft yellow walls and a mobile that made Zoe laugh every time it spun. The criminal case had moved quickly once the financial records came in. Leon and Sierra both pleaded guilty to reduced charges, fraud and making false statements. They received probation and community service, but the scandal destroyed Leon's reputation at the accounting firm and ended Sierra's corporate career. In the civil settlement, Ariel received the house, most of the retirement accounts, and enough in restitution to set up a college fund for Zoe. The payments went directly into an account Zoe would not touch for years, but seeing that steady deposit every month felt like a quiet form of justice. Leon's visitation had been reduced to 1 supervised hour per week at the family center. He showed up more often than Ariel expected, but less often than he had promised. Mrs. Harper's reports described him as appropriate but distant. "Mama," Zoe said now, holding up a blue block. "That is right, baby," Ariel said, smiling. "Blue." The doorbell rang. Valerie walked in holding a bouquet and a wrapped box. "How is the birthday girl?" she asked, scooping Zoe up. "She is perfect and she knows it," Ariel said. They were throwing a small party for Zoe's first birthday. Just family and a few close friends from Ariel's new job. The dining table held a simple cake with pink icing and a candle in the shape of a 1. "Any word from Leon?" Valerie asked as they hung a banner across the living room. "He sent a card," Ariel said. "It says happy birthday and his name. Nothing else. Do you miss him?" Valerie asked gently. Ariel thought about it. "No," she said. "I miss who I thought he was. But that person was not real." She had recently been offered a position as department head at a respected private high school. The salary was higher, the schedule more predictable, and Zoe would receive tuition remission once she was old enough. "I am proud of you," Valerie said. "Look at everything you built out of a mess." The party was small but joyful. Zoe smashed cake with both hands, laughed at the feeling, and clapped when everyone sang. Ariel's parents took turns holding their granddaughter, already arguing good-naturedly about who she looked like. After everyone left, Ariel's mother hugged her at the door. "You look happy," she said. "I am," Ariel said. "I really am." That evening, after Zoe fell asleep, Ariel sat in the nursery's rocking chair and watched her daughter's chest rise and fall. The baby monitor glowed softly beside the crib. The house was quiet in a way that felt peaceful instead of lonely. Her phone buzzed. A text from Angela. "Saw the news about your new position. Dinner soon to celebrate?" "Absolutely," Ariel typed back. "Thank you for everything." A few months later, Ariel sat on the front porch with a cup of tea while Zoe toddled around the backyard, unsteady but fearless. The college fund statements showed regular deposits from the restitution order. A letter from the court confirmed that Leon and Sierra had completed their community service. There were no more hearings scheduled. When people mentioned Leon or Sierra now, Ariel felt nothing. No anger, no sharp twist of hurt. They had become background characters in a story that no longer centered them. 2 years later, Ariel received an invitation in the mail from her old high school. They were inducting her into their Hall of Fame for excellence in education and community service. The ceremony would be held in the same auditorium where she had fallen in love with literature as a teenager, sitting in the back row with a notebook full of half-finished poems. On the night of the ceremony, Zoe, now 3 years old, sat in the front row between Valerie and Ariel's parents, her legs swinging, her hair in tiny twists with colorful clips. When Ariel's name was called, Zoe clapped louder than anyone and yelled, "That is my mommy!" On stage, Ariel accepted the plaque and walked to the podium. She talked about teaching students to think critically, to use their voices, to recognize their worth. She spoke about resilience and integrity, about how telling the truth, even when it hurts, can build something stronger than any lie. She did not mention Leon or Sierra by name. She did not have to. The people who knew her story understood. The ones who did not simply heard a woman speaking with calm certainty about surviving what had nearly broken her. After the ceremony, Zoe grabbed her hand in the parking lot. "Mommy, ice cream?" she asked, eyes shining with hope. Ariel laughed. "Yes, baby," she said. "We can get ice cream." As they drove toward the ice cream shop, Zoe sang a song from preschool in the back seat, mispronouncing half the words and giggling. Ariel watched her in the rearview mirror, that steady little face that carried traces of both parents, but was entirely her own person. Leon and Sierra had tried to tear Ariel's life apart. In many ways, they had succeeded. But in the process, they had also done something they never intended. They had forced Ariel to find her own strength. They had pushed her to fight for herself and her child. They had shown her that a life that did not follow her original plan could still be full and beautiful. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Zoe kicked her feet and clapped along to the rhythm of her own song. Ariel turned onto the street that led to the ice cream shop, feeling the quiet, solid weight of everything she had rebuilt. Justice had been served. Zoe was safe. Their home was peaceful. And for the first time in a long time, Ariel was not just surviving. She was living exactly the life she chose, with her daughter's laughter filling all the spaces where pain used to echo. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.